made this video already, and for some reason I just put my headphones in, which makes no sense. I made this video already, but the microphone wasn't working for some reason. I had to update this computer all morning, and every time I turn around, it's something else. However, gas shortage. I thought there might be one about a week or so ago. I saw something about it. Didn't know what they were talking about, but there's a gas shortage. And I remember in the olden times when our favorite president was in office, gas was cheap. People used to just drive in their cars for the lulls, you know. But then the dark times came. This was before the empire. This was before, instead of making America great again, we were trying to make America China now. We have a situation where there's no gas. In some states, they are declaring state of emergency. There's an airline, I believe it's American Airlines, who, because of this gas problem, are having to make stops that they would not normally make. And it's because the people who hated Trump also hated Russians, also hated all of us because they wanted us to be in lockdown, so they wanted there to be no money. And when people don't have money, they do criminal things like hacking with ransomware to get money, especially if they're people who you declared that you hated because they're Russian, because you hate Russians, and you hated Trump because he wanted to be friends with Russia, because somehow this is an evil thing, which I still don't understand. But your friendly neighborhood hairy legs friend of China president is doing God knows what to ruin everything. I wasn't a fan of the Keystone Pipeline, but it was there and it was a go. And then he was like, no. And then now we've had this situation where it's not a refinery, what is it? It's the distribution place for the gasoline in this country is been hacked, and they had to shut everything down. And the reason to be friends with Russia or China or anybody is because the wars aren't the old wars. They will be hacking wars and internet wars. But guess what? There's an actual war brewing, old-timey type war with bombs and shit brewing over in Israel and Palestine, because they're old school. They still hate each other from shit from way back there, you know? Sibling rivalry. Been going on for centuries. So what happens if the Middle East pops off? How's the gas gonna be then? You need gas. President Trump gave some people gas. He gave them indigestion, but he also gave you gasoline. Unfortunately, all our stuff is dependent upon gasoline, because if you want to buy food at the grocery store, that food has to get there by way of a truck that was probably driven by a Trump supporter, but also needs gasoline to go. So when gas prices are higher, it costs more to get your bread and your milk and your eggs to your local grocery store. And that means your local grocery store has to pay more. And then you have to pay more to the grocery store to eat your milk and your eggs and your bread because of gasoline. Yes, we should be a city of the future in every city and every town, and everything should be, we should all be in hyperloops, and we should all be able to teleport, and everything should be great, but we're too busy being red versus blue and all the stupid bullshit about race to advance beyond that and beyond your meat suit and get it together and be evolved human beings and do things the right way all together as a single human race. But instead we have to do all this bullshit all the time with politics and nonsense, and this is where you end up. With no freaking gas. If you have money, if you're not in this bad situation because of lockdowns, because of what has been done to the economy, which I said would happen, which President Trump said would happen, but you didn't want to listen to people like us because you hated us because we don't hate Russians, or we don't mind if somebody grabs somebody's whatever because people can jump their whatever out of the way. um, it's all life, and it's all just act like adults and be grown up and say, you know what? Instead of me being a baby and wanting everybody to have perfect behavior, maybe I'll do what's right for us to survive. Maybe I'll make intelligent, wise decisions to say, yeah, I don't like it when people say certain words. I don't like the way that man talks. But there's more to life than my butthurt feelings. And now we're in a situation where the world is, whether the news media reports it or not, we're in deep shit. Every day there's new deep shit. The economy is gone. You had to see that jobs report to know things were bad. Like I said, the unemployment number, I've said this before on videos of the past, but it's always been true for people who know better. The unemployment statistics, the number of people collecting unemployment, that number is bullshit. It doesn't tell you anything. Neither does the jobs numbers. It doesn't tell you what's going on in the world. What tells you what's going on is the gas prices. My mother never drove a day in her life, but she always would look at, whenever we would pass, we would be in the bus, we would pass 7-Eleven, she would look at the gas prices. You know, she would look at that stuff all the time. I waited all those years that Trump was president for her to say, hey, the gas prices went down. Maybe he did something right. She never did, but she always looked at that because she knew that's how you tell how the country's going, how everything's going, how the economy's going. The gas price. Because that is what runs everything. It runs how you get anything you buy, anything you need. You need gasoline. Unfortunately, like I said, we did not get it together. We did not become, we should have been doing that since the 70s. We should have held hands and sang songs about how we were going to, excuse me, how we were going to make things better for everybody. Instead of deciding whose fault it is that things suck and blaming this one and it's you because you're red and no, it's you because you're blue. You know, instead of just trying to win the next election, which they're always trying to do. All these pundits, all you people who are regular people sitting at home worried about what the pundits are saying about pundit. What matters is what's going on in your life. What matters is how we're living right now, and none of us is living right. I said there's those of us on the bottom who's affected now, but it's going to come to the rest of you eventually, one way or the other. I mean, everybody may have suddenly opened up, and all the governors, and they may be like, okay, let's open up now, because they realize how bad off the economy is, and they feel like they need to hurry up and save it now. I believe it's too late. You know, even if it's too late to come back, you should have never shut down in the first place. Because the economy will kill people. And it has. And it will continue to do that. And there will be people on the edge and they will fall off. And these people never cared about the people on the edge. They just wanted people in the system. Because they want to control everything. That's why they didn't give $2,000 stimulus to every single American, rich or poor, the minute they locked people down. Because that's what they should have done if they were going to force us to lock down. Then everybody would have had money to spend however they wanted, and that would have stimulated the economy, which is what you need. That's why it's called stimulus. But they gave people the bare minimum of a couple or 3 survival checks. It wasn't President Trump who didn't want to do that. It was your it was your Congress people who didn't want to give money on both sides. They could have gave everybody. He wanted people to have a lot more. And that would have saved things. Because the man was a businessman. He was a businessman. Most of the people you voted for were lawyers. All lawyers know how to do play games. Okay? These people, the governor shut us down. They did not have money to give us. So that's why they shouldn't have shut us down. The government, not the president, the government then did not give us money to keep us afloat before. But also they did their stupid things thinking they could control everything. Oh, if we do this and we do that, it'll all work out. It did not work out. It was never going to work out. They have no understanding of how things work. unfortunately, you can't run a society on unicorn farts, okay? You can't on kitten whiskers. I mean, whatever you people, whatever la la land you people live in, the world runs a certain way, and it was getting better. America was being made great again, but you decided you wanted to make America China now. You voted for that guy. You have that guy. You know he's not running it. I don't know which of you are running it. I wouldn't hire Elizabeth Warren to babysit my pet rock. Nancy Pelosi, I haven't seen her. Where'd she go? I haven't seen her since Trump left. How does that happen? She was on TV every day, having to help us, right? Where'd she go? So now there's no gas. And the gas prices are going through the roof. Or they're going to. We can be hacked. We can be hacked by Russians. We can be hacked by China. We could be hacked by anybody. Wouldn't it have been better to make friends with everybody and have the world be a nice place, like President Trump was trying to do, instead of telling Russians how much they suck and how horrible it was that he tried to befriend them? So we'll see if we get World War III by way of Israel and Palestine over there. We'll see what they're up to. If the Middle East pops off, how does that not make everything worse for gas? This is what I'm saying. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket. I prayed and prayed for that Chinese space junk to hit me, that rocket. It didn't. I have to be here with you people in the world you wanted. I am in so much deep shit. But every time I worry about my own stuff, I kind of calm down and then think of, look at the outside world. It's the outside world that has made you know that there's nowhere for you to go. There's nowhere for... This world's going to be unbearable for all of you pretty soon. You think you figured it out. You think you survived the plague. The plague wasn't the disease. The plague was this horrible backwards thinking that doesn't help anyone. Just keep... if you people were on the Titanic, you'd want to be arguing about race instead of getting in the lifeboats. You'd want to be arguing about gender and pronouns. The end is nigh. I don't know if there's anything we can do. When I say we, I mean we as a people. I have to just hope for magical things to happen. I have to go with the flow. Because there's literally nowhere for me to end up. But for you people, when I say we, I mean we as a people. The society, the kind of people I was around. The United States of America, the world we have today. I don't know if there's any hope for us. I think you ruined everything. Because you couldn't handle a guy joking about grabbing some stuff. That's where it all started. Everything. Me Too, cancel culture. It all started right then and there with that Access Hollywood tape. You couldn't take it. And you put all your effort into bringing us to this low point. It all started there, and this is where it ends up. That's what you wanted. Because a bad man said a bad thing. Because you guys haven't left the naughty mat. And if you were on the naughty mat, everybody else has to be on the naughty mat. And you're going to sit on that naughty mat instead of getting up and acting like a grown-up and just not judging people and having some common sense and saying, you know what? Maybe we need real leadership. Maybe we need to tell the truth. Maybe we need to stop playing games and worry about nonsense when the world is on fire we're on fire. It's almost over. I don't know. I don't know how many of you are going to make it. Good luck. I really don't understand what you guys were thinking.